Love or hate it, there's no denying Fortnite has been a massive success as of late with the release of its Battle Royale mode and its free-to-play model, but many won't be aware of the long and rather interesting development it's had over the last few years. So let's dive in and take a look at the journey Fortnite has had that's led to where it is now. Originally revealed all the way back in 2011 at the Spike Video Game Awards by former Epic employee Cliff Bleszinski, Epic set out to create something that was quite different from their previous series, Gears of War, with the idea of scavenging, crafting and surviving being the main components they wanted to focus on. They decided to announce it very early on, only weeks after the concept came to fruition. This was said to be in an attempt to gain interest from both consumers and publishers. Although aiming for a different type of game to Gears of War, its initial art style during early development was actually very reminiscent of it, sporting a darker, more realistic tone and muddy colour palette. The change to the more cartoony and colourful art style was made as they wanted an aesthetic that would not only age better, but most importantly they wanted one that was easier and quicker to create, as well as required less horsepower. The game was initially in development as a PC title using the Unreal 3 engine, before of course moving onto the Unreal 4 engine and releasing across several additional platforms from the PS4, Xbox One and most recently even on iOS, with an Android release coming sometime in the near future. For the creation of the game, the developers People Can Fly were brought on board, the same developers that released the zany Bulletstorm at the start of 2011 and the less than stellar Gears of War Judgment in 2013. They also brought in a company known as Tencent, who had many games that fell under the games as service model, when they decided they wanted Fortnite to fit into this category. Roll on 2 years from its 2011 reveal, and Fortnite's progression was seemingly moving incredibly slowly, with Epic confirming the game would not release that year. This was partially thought to be because of the move to the new Unreal 4 engine, which was still very much in its infancy. In fact, it was the first game in development for it, with Fortnite being somewhat the testing ground. It wouldn't be until 2014 we'd really get to see the game in a playable state, entering an alpha stage where a select few would be able to finally play the game. However, they anticipated it was still a few years off before it would release. This was largely due to their focus being placed on the co-developed and now defunct Paragon, the multiplayer battle arena game that was expected to actually perform better than Fortnite, but ironically ended up the complete opposite. Paragon was officially closed as of January this year after just a little over 12 months since its open beta began. However, Epic did offer a full refund to everyone who bought it. They also released all the game's assets to the public to use as they wish, which was a pretty nice gesture. Despite being in development for several years, Fortnite seemingly came out of nowhere, releasing in the middle of 2017 with just its Save the World PvE mode, a mode set in a world where 98% of the population has disappeared and creatures akin to zombies known as husks have begun appearing, leaving the remaining members of humanity to defend themselves by scavenging and building forts. The game didn't exactly take off initially, receiving a fairly quiet reception. The Save the World mode they've been working on this entire time just wasn't pulling in players as they'd hoped, receiving reviews around the 60 to 70 mark on Metacritic, criticised for its heavy emphasis on microtransactions, confusing UI, and gameplay that felt too grindy and repetitive. Skipping forward just a few months to September of the same year would be where everything changed for the title when its Battle Royale mode was released out to the public as completely free to play. This mode was no doubt brought about largely due to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds that released earlier on in March, popularising the genre and proving to be a massive success for the developer Bluehole Studio. Fortnite wasn't just a cartoony knockoff clone of PUBG, however, bringing across the building aspects as well as numerous other elements from Save the World that really made it feel like a different experience. That, along with much more stable performance, less bugs and being free to play, made it a much easier game to gravitate towards for the masses. The mode proved to be so popular in fact that Epic made the decision to split off part of their team to solely work on it. At the beginning of this year, Fortnite would receive a pretty large update to its PvP map, revamping it quite heavily, altering existing locations, but also adding a ton of new ones. That, along with consistent updates including new items such as the smaller shield potions and new guns like the recent guided missile launcher, it's likely we'll see plenty of new content in the foreseeable future. Reviews so far for Battle Royale have been generally higher than its PvE counterpart, with some websites like IGN singing its praises, branding it with an incredibly high 9.6 out of 10. Today, Fortnite stands as one of the most popular games out there, routinely pulling in significantly more streamers and watchers on the Twitch platform than its closest competitor PUBG, and very recently was stated to be the most uploaded game on YouTube for a single month ever. It remains to be seen how long Fortnite will maintain this level of success, but Epic are certainly trying, updating and improving the game on a regular basis, providing support that's comparable with that which Blizzard have given their game, Overwatch. That's it for today. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content just like this. Click the thumbnail on the left for a playlist of past episodes, or the one on the right for another of my videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.